So for this video, we're doing the little bat from Monster High. So we're going to make it on a piece of greaseproof paper so it doesn't stick to our work surface. So I've already dyed little bits of modelling paste ready for us to use. So I'm just going to lightly dust the work surface. And I'm just going to roll out my black modelling flour paste. I'm going to roll it quite thin, but not so thin that it snaps really easily. Okay, so I've rolled that thin enough for what I'm after. Now try not to put too much corn flour down, otherwise you'll find that it marks your black icing and you'll struggle to rub it off. So what I'm going to do is, taking my picture, I'm going to cut off the wings so that I've got some templates to cut around. So I've cut out one wing. I'm just going to put it on my fondant, and be careful not to press too hard with your fingers, otherwise you'll leave indentations in your icing. So I'm just going to draw around, and I'm going to bring it a little bit further round than the end of my template, so you've got a bit extra on this end here, just so that we've got something to stick to the rest of the bat. Okay, so I'm bringing it round. Like that. Just check you've cut through all the bits of it properly. I think there's some bits that I've not quite cut through, so just go through those. Move that away. So you've got one of your basic bat wings there. So we're just going to repeat the same with the other wing. So I've done both my bat wings, so I'm just going to put them on my greaseproof paper. And I've still got the rest of my figure to decide whereabouts they're going to go. So they'll go on there like that. So now we're going to make the bat. Now we're making it so that it's going to sit flat on something, this one. So I'm going to take a ball of icing for its body. Now I think I might need a little bit more. That's why sometimes it's good to print off your image the size you want it. That way you can compare against your body parts. Now if you want it really 3D, have it that big and we'll stick it on so it's really 3D, or if you want it a little bit flatter, take a little bit off, roll it and squash it down a tiny bit like that. So what I'm going to do is, in fact it might be easier to trace on, then I know where I can leave my wings. So with a pen I'm just going to draw roughly where the wings were, so that I know when I add my body. So I'll just draw roughly around there and around there. It is very rough, is that, so that I can see where they're going to go. So you'll see my wings come slightly further in than my outline, which is good because I'll need something to stick them to. So I'm not going to stick my body down just yet because I want to put its outfit on first. I'm going to take a tiny amount of white, move that to one side for a second, and I'm just going to roll this white out really thin. So again, this is my flour and modelling paste, so you should find that it's alright to roll out thin. Now I'm going to cut a straight line, and then what I'm going to do is add it to my body. Now my body is slightly wider than it is tall, so just make sure you've got it the right way round when you're doing it. And I'm going to put a small amount of water on the back of here. You don't want too much water on. And I'm just going to push it on like so, moving it around to where you want it to go. I'm just going to put a little bit of water in the top of it as well. And I'm just pushing that up like that now. It's creased a tiny bit, but the head should cover the crease that we've got in the top. I'll just put a bit of water there as well, just to make sure it sticks. So that's the main bit of our body. So have a look against your picture, what angle you want your body to go. I'm just going to put a little bit of water on the ends of the wings. Make sure they're in the right position that I want them to be. And I'm just going to push the body onto my wings like that. It's sticking to my fingers a little bit, so you will have to be careful that it doesn't stick to you. Now if the wings are in the exact same position as the one in the picture, that's not to worry. So now what we're going to do is add a little bit of pink. Picked up the wrong colour pink, it's this pink that we want. I'm going to roll it out again. And I'm just going to cut a thin strip around the bottom of the jumper. So I'm going to bring that back in. Put a little bit of water just around the edge of the jumper so that it sticks. And we're going to place that on there, bringing it round. And then you'll snip or just cut off the extra bit that we don't need. You will find it does move around a little bit, so just keep repositioning it how you want it to go. And then if you want little lines going across, you can either do it with your knife or your tool. We'll use the tool this time, and we're just going to put indentations in the white line that we've got, like so. I don't know how well you'll be able to see the indentations on the video. Now for the little frilly bit round the neck, we'll add that after we've added the head. So we'll just keep that to one side. Just be careful it doesn't dry out too much. If you're going to be a while, just put it away in your bag. Now the head wants to be a similar-ish size to your body. You can do it a tiny bit bigger if you want. Again, just compare against the one on your picture if you're not sure. And I want it to go on there like that. So I'm going to add a little bit of water just in between, and I'm going to try and push it on gently. You don't want to push it on too much because you just squash your other one, so just gently pushing it. Like that. I do apologise that I make everything upside down for you guys. So I'm gonna just knead this again. And what I'm gonna do is roll it into a long sausage, and I don't need that much, I only need a little bit. I'm just going to flatten it just ever so slightly with my fingers, just ever so slightly. Bit of water around the neck, and I'm going to pop that around there. And what I'm going to do is, using a cocktail stick, just try and push it in under the head. And then what you're going to do is just push your cocktail stick upwards to create a shape like that. Can you see that? So pushing upwards like so. And then pulling the extra off the ends that you don't need. And I'm just cutting this with my cocktail stick. Now for the little pink hearts, if you can make little pink hearts out of this icing, then brilliant. If not, then try and paint them on. We'll give it a little go. It might not work out, we'll see. So we start with a round ball we've just squashed, and then what we're going to do is just put a cocktail stick into the middle to just create a little heart shape. It's not a perfect heart, but it's probably as good as we're going to get. And what I'm going to do is just put water on the front, and we're gonna, if I can get it off my finger, stick the little heart on like that. So you do a few more. Okay, roll into a ball again, flatten it, and then put tiny dint in the top, and if you can, squeeze the bottom. They are a bit fiddly, these little hearts, and then push onto your top. What we're going to do now is just create a little bit of a step in the top of the head. So I'm going to just make my head a little bit bigger, just up here. And I'm just going to put in a slight indentation just here, so that I've got something to rest the bow on when we stick the bow on the head. Just like that. Careful not to keep moving your wings like I do, otherwise they'll end up breaking as they dry. If you want to leave it a bit at a time and let it dry each bit before continuing with the next step, then please do. So for the bow, I'll leave a bit for the centre, and I'm going to take a bit for each end now. I'm going to try and squeeze it into a rough triangle shape. I'm going to round that edge a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is, using my tool, just put a line in like that. Apologies for that, that's my oven going off. So you put your little line in the top, then you want another little line just there like that. We're going to repeat the same for the other side now. And when you've made your shapes, you're just going to wet that little ledge with a bit of water so that it sticks to it. And you're going to add your bow. And you press it round so it starts to shape to the head, so it goes round the head. Shape the centre of your bow. Bit of water either on the back of your shape or in between your two sides of your bow, and just pop that on like so. Now it's not identical to the one on the picture, so if you want it identical, just have a little bit of a play around with it until you're happy with the shape that you've got it. Now we're going to add the mouth, again using the modelling tool. I'm just going to push a little line in there, and then I'm going to push one in the other side to match. And I'm just going to curl it round a little bit in that corner. Now I don't know how well you can see this on the camera. For what I'm doing. Then we're going to create a space where the eyes are going to go. So we're going to start in the centre about here, and I'm just going to indent a bit of a curve, and then we're going to go up where the eye's going to go and take it a little bit further up to create a bit of a brow almost, and again this side doing a bit of a curve, taking it up like so. And you flatten that little bit below where your eye's going to go. Just flattening it just there like that. We're going to now add some fangs. So I'm going to take a bit of white, I'm just going to roll a couple of little triangles and I'm going to put them in his mouth. So we're going to wet the mouth at either side, just a little bit. And I find it easy to just roll these into a point and just cut off your little point. And then if you can, without squashing it, just pop it in like so. And move it around until you're happy with it. So again, we're going to roll into a point, and it can be difficult getting them the same size sometimes. And then I'm going to try and pop that one on the other side. It just stuck to my knife a bit. I'm just going to move it around a little bit with my cocktail stick and push it where I want it to be. Like that. So the bat has now got fangs. And what we're going to do now is just leave it to dry for a little bit before we stick on his little bat ears and bat legs and eyes. Otherwise we'll end up knocking it out of shape a little bit. Taking some yellow fondant, I'm just going to make 2 eyes. So I'm going to start with a ball. I'm going to try and flatten it on one side to create a bit of a semicircle. And we're just going to pop that in place to see what it's like size wise. Now once you're happy with the size, you can stick it in. Just using a little bit of water and the eye socket there. So that's one done. Now the tricky bit is going to be getting the other the same size. Again, just trial it for size before you stick it in. And when you're happy with it, just a bit of water. I'm just going to round it off a little bit at that end. You're just going to push that on like so, and I'm just going to use my tool with this one to push it into place where I want it to be. Then I'm going to put the pupils in using a bit of food colouring. Or if you prefer, you could just put, in fact actually rather than painting them on today, we'll use, usually I would paint them on, but we've got plenty of black fondant, so what we'll do is we'll just stick this on. So put water where you want the pupils to go, and then taking 2 round balls and just check them for size, to check they're similar size wise to each other. Pop them on where you want them to go. Then we can paint on some little white dots to highlight the eyes. And this time I'm using the extra white food colouring. Oh, if I don't get it everywhere. You might need to just put a tiny bit of water in with it if it's a little bit too thick to use on its own. Just using a fine brush and just put a dot on each eye like so. So they just need legs now. Taking our black fondant, I'm going to create some little legs now. It's only got small legs. I'm going to roll it out thin like that to start with. And what I'm going to do is just put a little V in the end, like so. Then I'm going to fold that bit over to create a bit of a knee. And then we'll trim that so it's shorter, like so. And we'll stick that then to the body using just a bit of water. So angle it on where you want it to go. And do the same for the other leg. There you have it. Your finished bat. Now let it dry before placing it on a cake.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.